Okay, so this video is just going to be about mistyping in general in the OP. The first, I'd like to start basically with giving some tips to people who want to get typed properly. The first thing you should do is, that in OP they've got a question list of questions, and I know it's tempting to look at that list and review it and prepare for it, but don't. The best thing you can do if you want to get typed correctly is don't look at that list until you're doing your video. Don't re-record your video, nothing like that. What you want is a completely authentic version of yourself when you're thinking of the questions and answering the questions. That way you can get typed completely as properly as possible. So that said, I just want to get into the idea of mistyping, okay? So Dave and Shannon never, ever, ever declared that they're going to get your type completely accurate, okay? They're going to get it precise, and they're going to get precise based on the video you provide them with, right? And based on what they see externally, okay? Now, they're really good. They're really good at tracking it, and, I've been doing a lot of interviews, and they've got a really great track record with typing people correctly. Also, many of us that are in the Facebook community spend time with people before they get typed, after they get typed, and people usually who get a different type, usually it takes them a while for it to sink in, sometimes anywhere between like a week to a month to a year until the types finally sits with you and you finally be like, okay, yeah, I guess they typed me correctly, right? And there are some people out there that it really takes a long time for that process to happen. But the other thing is, mistypings happen, okay? And I've seen a couple, I don't want to say who specifically, but I've seen a couple where it's a mistyping. And the reason is they doctored their video. They prepared for the video beforehand. They had, and maybe they don't have a big presence online and they didn't have other resources that Dave and Shannon could see them. So, I spoke to Dave, basically a brief conversation about this. And he said he's trying to run a business. They're already, spread thin, and a 45-minute typing video. Yeah, obviously that's not enough to type someone completely correctly, right? Their track record is really good with that 45 minutes. But he said if he was working in the academic world and he needed to get that typing completely precise or completely accurate, he would need to spend maybe like a week with the person, live with the person or observe them for a week or put them through a series of situations to detect it. And that's just not something that's practical for a typing business. And at the same time, he's trying to do a lot of other things with his business, not just typing people, right? He's trying to teach people the system, get operators, right? So that's their difficulty here. And mistypings can and will happen. They will happen. It's obvious that it will happen. And the first thing I think that as when we see someone who thinks they've been mistyped, give them space. Be like, okay, you might have been. You're right? Give them space. Let them sort of go through the process, okay? And they might need help talking through it and figuring it out. And don't automatically say, oh, no, you were typed correctly. Look at it from their perspective, right? When you get typed, there's four things that are going on here, okay? There's their system, which might not be completely true, right? But it's a great system, okay? There's reality. There's how you see yourself and how they saw you when they typed you, okay? Those are the four things. And what's going to happen is we're going to try to get reality to match their system. See how reality fits into their system, okay? Your reality. Now, you see yourself in a certain way, they see you in a certain way. That's basically the triangulation, trying to get you to fit in that system. And there's going to be failures. It's just not always going to be correct. So, and I think basically someone who has been working on themselves and has had a life of hell is going to be a bit harder to type because they're going to be using all of their functions and they're going to have adapted to a lot of things. Someone who's maybe very young, it's probably easier for you to get typed if you're in your 20s or something, right? And if you haven't really gone through anything, I guess the easiest person to type is a spoiled brat when he's 15 or something. I don't know. But yeah, so So just keep that in mind, that mistypings do happen, and Dave and Shannon admit it. As of yet, there's no official recourse if you think you've been mistyped. But like, even if you do think you've been mistyped, wait, don't like automatically jump on it. Take your time. Take your time, and you know, talk to your family. Let it sit for a week, a month, you know, and then see where you're at, right? So and you know, there's no real recourse at the moment. There's no way that you, and it's really frustrating because for like, obviously for Dave and Shannon, they can't spend all of their time, you know, guiding and talking people through this, right? There's phone calls you can do, pay for, and there's things like that, ways that you can get working on it. But if you have, yeah, that's basically it. Like, the reason why it's so difficult is, for us, it's our identity, right? For us, when we get typed, it's like, this is it's like saying, this is who you are. Like, you fit into the system in this way. This is who you are. And yeah, to a certain degree, like, it's not who you are, it's how they saw you, right? And how you see yourself might be different, and who you are, how you actually fit into the system, is going to be a part of your identity, right? And so that's why the difficulty, if you get mistyped, it's painful, because you're like, well, that's not who I am. That's not how I fit into the system, or that's not at least how I see that I fit in. And a lot of the time is we go through life lying to ourselves and being dishonest and with ourselves, and being delusional, not knowing who we are. And so getting typed is like, even if it's not completely accurate, it's at least telling you, you know, this is how you're perceived. Like, you might not be who you think you are, right? So keep that in mind. And again, if you've been mistyped, it's your fault. You're the one who gave the video. It's your fault. You're the one who's acting like someone who isn't you, in an online presence or whatever. So I mean, and even like, if you've been mistyped, and because you have this different presence, this different attitude, this different behavior in front of people, it could also actually be a good thing. It can show you, hey, look, you know, you've managed to get out of yourself. You've managed to become someone else in front of other people, and not get stuck in who you are. So, you know, take it all with a grain of salt. And keep in mind too, that like, we've seen it hundreds of times in the community, where everyone's automatically, when they get their type, they're like, I've been mistyped, right? That's the automatic response. And yeah, like, several of them might have been mistyped, but give it some time, and you know, it'll sink in. So like, like for me, I'm still going through the process of accepting it, and I might have some conflicts or contradictions with it, but like, if that's true, and if they have been mistyped, it's my fault. You know, there's no guarantee, is basically what I'm saying. So, you know, and I just want to say, just be accepting of people who and don't like force the type on them and say like, okay, I'm going to see you how they saw you. Like, try to see the person for who he is. Okay. Like, I think that's just something, just in general in life, try to see the person for who he really is, and not for what type you think he is. Because like, you know, you might miss who the person is if you've already stuck them in a box. You know, you might miss who the person really is. So yeah, it's just a general idea. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.